right, folks. Any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none proffered, we'll move on to public comments, which there's no one here. Okay, so we'll move on to finance report. Mary, do you have words to say?
Just as reported last month, we borrowed $65,000 from our line of credit to cover last month's bills. We do not need to borrow anything this month due to the $476,000 deposited from the state general education fund.
Okay.
So I technically could pay back the 65 and avoid further interest, but in the event that we need to reborrow it again or some other portion, might as well just leave it alone.
Okay.
Tax bills are going to be generated on Monday. They'll be programmed, so they all should be in the mail on Tuesday, and residents can expect them by the end of the week.
And is the rate?
The rates are actually down.
Yes, is the rate for North Bennington 157.83?
157.83 is the residential rate. 1665 is the non-residential rate.
And 139.72 for Shasta.
Is District 1 residential and non-residential 14753.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep. That was actually, I mean, the governor gave us a big jump down.
Mm-hmm. And you'll never
And
see it
we'll pay
again.
for it next year.
Right. And then, as I had reported to the village the other day, we have, for the school, there are 2 properties with any significant school taxes owed, one of which a tax sale is scheduled, and one of which the attorney just heard back the other day that the homeowner will come forward. That person, that second one, is the absolute largest amount that's owed to both the village and the school.
Wow.
So that's
They're going to pay it?
That's just under $10,000. And that said, if I get those 2, there's one more property that will be paid up this month, and then one more property that has, an insignificant amount going, and that will virtually be everything collectible for the current school year, or the last
great.
year.
Now you've pulled all the tricks out of your hat, and now what are we going to do to keep
The
solvent?
next goal is to have everything paid by the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
Just locking it in.
Walk it in. And when we do that, we'll go to April 15th.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm going to skip budget status report unless someone requests a review. Consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of August 8th and the warrants for August and September, which were enclosed in the packet. August and September, well, September's a big month because there's both the village school bill and there's the quarterly payments for South Shire and Highland Hall and the first payment on Shasta students. Plus some of the expenses on the bathroom. August had the final payment on the contractor for the bathroom, and village school payment, and minutes, paying Lori for her minutes, and what else. At any rate, there's nothing really unusual about them. So I will entertain a motion to approve this consent agenda.
So moved.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Do you want to look at the warrants first?
No. This is all Pownell here, right, Jim? This is Pownell?
Yes.
We don't sign those.
They gave me Pownell too.
Yeah, this is all
Yeah.
Pownell. But we do have North Bennington.
You can sign Pownell. I probably won't do anything.
John Pease will have something to say about that.
Yeah, this one. I'm gonna put that in the balance.
He'll say Pownell takes care of business.
That's not so. They'd be signing them a week ahead of me.
Did we,
Updated September 18th.
was there a motion
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a second.
and
I
a
was
second?
seconded, yeah.
Good.
Did we vote?
Nope,
Oh.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, I did. I seconded.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, is there a policy, for weapons? No. No policies. Superintendent, we're going to discuss. Dick Francis walked in. Dick, can you find a place over here so we can see you and hear you, if you care to speak? This, in case you,
Like a board meeting.
in case you, the rest of you don't know, this is Dick France. He's a Woodford board member, and he's been on the, well, you would know him because he's on the policy committee. He's been on that for how many years now? You don't know.
Too many to count.
Yeah. But at any rate, in particular, he has a response that he would like us to consider to with all the proposals floated around about arming and training teachers to carry weapons in schools. And do you want to speak to it now? Shall we read it first?
I don't know if you have it in print in front of you or
I do,
I can
somewhere
read it
here.
if you wish.
This is something from the policies
You mean
committee?
No, it's
No.
from Dick.
Oh, no, okay. I don't have
However,
that.
it comports with the policy committee.
Is this the
policies.
weapons position statement?
Yes.
Okay.
It was
Got it.
presented at the SVSU meeting and the SVSU board before they vote on it.
Okay.
Wanted your SVSU reps to go back, have a discussion to how they want, what their position is on the position, and then Dick actually offered to come to any meeting that would, I believe Ray invited him at the last SU meeting to come
I
and have a
did.
discussion about his proposal. So it's not a policy, even though he is on the policy committee.
It's
There is
just a statement.
Yeah, just a statement.
And I'll read it. The Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union and its member school districts value the work performed every day by all personnel, including teachers. School personnel consistently perform tasks beyond their job descriptions. The SVSU will not ask these personnel to accept the additional responsibility to carry arms. The SVSU will not support arming teachers, volunteers, or other school personnel. While the Gun-Free Schools Act discourages weapons in the school environment, it does so allow for exceptions under certain conditions. The SVSU will acknowledge an exception only for trained police officers and will comply with directives in policy number 5089, weapons prohibition other than students. So,
This wasn't intended to replace a policy.
Right.
This is intended to establish a position that says we respect the professionals and the other staff in the building. They're already doing a number of things well beyond what they were trained to do. We shouldn't ask them to do anything more. And weapons in a school is the next step to a disaster as far as I'm concerned. As a Vietnam veteran, I can probably tell you that when the adrenaline is flowing and things are exciting and you have to make decisions in a hurry, I don't want kids in the way of that. The other part of that situation is if we arm teachers and responders come into the building with weapons drawn, teachers can become the targets. There is a great deal of confusion about who owns the right to carry weapons. As a matter of fact, we have a local person running for a state office who actually presented at the SVSU board some time back that wanted to arm teachers. Although the Gun-Free Schools Act says they don't want weapons in school, that more than anything else that deals with students and punishment for students. There's an act called the Gun-Free School Zone Act, which says anybody within 1,000 feet of an institution can be arrested. Somebody was. That conviction was overturned in 2000, I believe, because the state had issued a license for this person to carry a weapon. I see us bumping into a situation where the state rule overrules whatever we have for policies, and in Vermont you can carry concealed and you can open carry. I don't think we want to put our kids in those sites. And I know how it works in there, and I think you could talk to police officers and read police reports and find that rarely do they discharge one round. People get excited and it's 4 or 5 or 41 or whatever, and that becomes random. We can't afford that. So, thank you for letting me speak to that.
Powerful. Thank you.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly endorse this. I don't think there should be anybody with a gun other than a police officer in any of the schools.
Thank you.
Kim, Marie, you have anything to say?
No, I agree.
Okay.
Schools should be a gun-free environment. Absolutely.
I'd have to agree too. I'm just wondering what the mechanics of what you're doing are. I mean, if it's not a policy, it's a statement.
Position.
I think it's just a statement of support for the staff, first of all, because there is a certain amount of pressure being applied in a variety of environments. We're bumping against the Second Amendment, and that's a big issue now.
Mm-hmm.
Would that override our policy? There's a chance. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this is what the SVSU endorses and nothing more than that.
Understood.
I don't know that there's any mechanics that Gun-Free Schools Act can't keep anybody from coming into school with a weapon either.
Mhm.
But
The only mechanic I can think, this will be on the September agenda of the SVSU board,
Okay.
because the board has not officially adopted this position yet. They're waiting for feedback.
Gotcha.
So we can't keep anybody from coming into school with a gun now?
well, your normal security measures
Well,
do a certain number of things, but this isn't going to prevent somebody from walking.
yeah, walking in there.
I think it's kind of a statement that I don't want the English teacher, I'm going to get in trouble for that, I know, but I don't want English teachers carrying concealed weapons in the high school or the middle school
Or any school.
Or to be
Mhm.
pressured to do so.
or feel pressured to do that.
Yes, I understand.
And we've already heard a member of our community who thinks it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
As an educator, classroom educator myself, I can tell you that while I'm teaching, I'm trying to concentrate on 50 different things at once. And I can't imagine having to add deadly force to the number of things that I need to worry about while I'm teaching a class. That's just...
I think you already have a huge number of responsibilities, and we add to them every year. That shouldn't go on the list.
Do we make a motion to?
Plus the impact on kids of having a teacher in the classroom with the gun, concealed or otherwise. I don't know what that will do, but I would think that would generate various reactions depending on their experience and their comfort with.
Can there have been accidents?
Well, I was going to say, I'm sure statistically, when you just look at home firearm accidents, homes that have firearms, statistically it's
that's very high
skyrocketed, so-
number of deaths.
Right, so
Yep.
we would probably produce more deaths than we would stop.
Statistically, you're way safer if you don't have a gun.
That's
in
what
your
I'm
house.
saying, and so now you're introducing a gun into a classroom. I
Right.
think the odds, yes, doesn't.
People are going to start to get shot. If you have a bunch of guns in school, there's going to be more shootings inside of schools.
Yes.
They will be used, and not always for the thing they're intended to
Or
be
by
used
just
for.
simply by accident, or a kid
Yeah.
grabs them, or what. Statistically, it sounds.
All right, well, it sounds to me like we're pretty much in agreement, and I think we ought to make a resolution that we do support this. And I will take that with me to the SDSU meeting and support it there. So,
I move to resolve as the Board of North Bennington that we wholeheartedly support the statement that was produced. Did you produce this, or was it yourself?
Dick,
So
Dick
it's
wrote
Dick's.
it.
First brought to the board.
That Dick's thoughtful statement regarding this issue is we are very much in support of his thoughts on this.
Yeah. Well, we don't really need a second. I'll call the question. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you very
And
much.
you're welcome to
Yeah,
stay,
thank
but
you.
you're not obligated at all.
Thanks.
Get out of the way. Thank you.
Yep,
Thank
take
you.
care, bud.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, I've got to sign this.
That done then?
There's
Yeah.
5 on there, right?
Thank you. There you go.
Um,
Yeah.
all right, so next, this is all right, so do you have further information or material to convey? It's still your item on the agenda.
Um, Just two things. Shaftesbury is contemplating moving their board meeting night to Thursday nights to accommodate a member who they lost a member last night, so he resigned. So the other member can't be here. They're going to have trouble with a quorum. So my question is, would you consider switching to temporarily a Thursday night meeting so I don't have 2 nights? But if you don't, that's fine. We'll find a way to work it out. I'll either send somebody else but they're next month going to switch instead of the 10th to the 11th. I believe it's one of their members is going through firefighter training and it's only available on Wednesday nights.
For how long?
I want to say it's 3 or 4 months.
Okay, so by
Yeah.
winter we could go back to Wednesday.
Right, but I could verify that.
When will they fill? How and will they fill the vacancy?
Well, the confusion is what happens with Act 46 and consolidation. So they could, as a board, vote to fill that empty seat right now. They could solicit people to run for it. They could go back to a candidate that might have ran before or something and fill that seat. Or they have the option to leave it open till the next general election. So the member just announced because Jeff Lee announced his resignation last night, so I don't think they've really had time to figure what, do they want to fill it yet, or what they're going to explore their options. They asked for me to look into, like what, if the state goes forward with their plan, you know, how quickly are they dissolved as a committee and, or a board, and the new board formed, so.
And we
June
don't
30th.
even know what the new board yet is gonna
No,
look like,
no.
whether it's gonna be a 2,
And that's
3, 2, 2, or whatever.
the other item that I wanted to talk to you about. I know that next Wednesday, you have the time slot right after Bennington, Bennington, Shaftesbury, and Woodford all have the same time slot before the state board in Chester next Wednesday. The packet that we're sending off includes a copy of the minutes from the Shaftesbury board that voted asking the state board to reject the default articles of agreement, which gives every community 2 members regardless of size. So Woodford gets 2, Bennington gets 2. Shaftesbury, to its credit, they asked that the state use the makeup that was in our articles of agreement from our Act 46 study committee, which is the makeup that Mount Anthony has, which has worked for years.
And at-large voting too?
At-large voting, yep. So the default articles is a hybrid model, which is at-large voting with reserves for communities. Like there has to be 2 members from each community voted on at-large. Woodford at their meeting voted the same thing, so Woodford, basically asking for 1 less seat than what the state is going to give them, to their credit, and they support Bennington getting the 4 seats. So their minutes will be included in what we're sending to the state board to include in their agenda. Shaftesbury's minutes will be included. The Bennington chair, they took a vote at the Bennington meeting. The chair wrote a letter that will be included, and the school's attorney, Steve Stitzel, also wrote a letter concerning the governance model, the board makeup, and historically how well the Mount Anthony board is used with that model, and why would you want to create 2 boards in the same SU that
Have a different.
right? So we'll see if they listen to that, because there is in the default article of agreements the option that after 1 year of operation, the new board has the option of then going to a community-wide vote to change the makeup of the board. But, right, would that happen, and to why make somebody go through that process? And we believe the state board does have the right to alter the recommendation from them. We're hoping that they will listen to that. Why, I have 4 boards in agreement, Matt. It's like, it's please listen to what they're asking. So that gives you an update what they're doing. I guess, I read your Section 9 report. I assume, are you going on next Monday? I will
I
be
can't.
there, yeah.
It's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking of going, or you not?
Yes, if I can figure out something
I have.
to say, because
You got a
I
20-minute
don't
slot.
believe they really haven't left us with any options that I see.
Yeah, their
I
response
will
was pretty
go,
much just
if
no.
I go, it's going to be to state a point
Yeah.
of view that they put us through this ringer for what down here?
Yeah. So I'm responding tomorrow, but I want to reserve.
We could have
your
we could have just stayed the way we were and maybe worked out some better ways of working with each other. But no, we had to do how many? 3 studies?
Yeah.
And,
So should I
those are
respond
all-
to the state board that there will be a representative from North Bennington attending? Because I don't want them to give your time slot away, you know?
Right.
No, don't let them give my time slot away.
Okay.
If I
And that-
don't show up, they can do it then.
That would be my suggestion, to
Yeah.
say that, so I will let them know when that.
Actually, I think I will be there anyway, because I will go at least to be supportive of the Connecticut Valley districts because I think they're being dealt a really stupid hand.
What time is theirs, Dean?
They're scattered.
Scattered.
Brattleboro would be one of them.
Okay.
I didn't look at all the
I think your time, if you put me to look, I can tell you.
Brattleboro, Dummerston, Guilford, whatever.
I've never seen a time slot. Do we? is
Yeah,
that-
no,
Yeah.
there's a schedule.
Very regulated meeting,
I thought it
so.
was like
Okay.
11:07.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought.
Okay.
Ours is 1:00.
Oh, is
I
it 1
think.
o'clock? That's
You
me.
are at,
Isn't it? It's after lunch, right after lunch or something.
I wanna say it's 1:25.
Yeah, because it was it'd be after Bennington.
Yeah, I'm having trouble getting on your
Okay,
Wi-Fi.
yeah.
So am I.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's 098765432.
Is that on the,
I'm sure there's gonna be lots of people watching to steal our Wi-Fi.
Yep.
That'll be changed tomorrow? No.
We can edit that
Paying
out.
attention?
Yeah, 1:25.
Okay.
20 minutes.
Okay.
yeah, 1:25.
Yeah, 1:05. I know. Or is it 1:05?
They want you to leave
1:20.
time for questions, but the strategy I've heard that's best maybe is to give them no chance.
And then right before that is the Bennington.
Bennington goes
Okay.
before you,
Okay.
and I think Pownell goes after you, but I really, I can't get on right
Okay.
now. So once there's, I'm trying on my phone in here and everything.
It's
I
my
wanna-
That's fine.
my personal belief that all of those districts could have decided to fight this completely
Sounds
to
like
stay
they-
the way they are. But
I think they're heading in that direction.
well, I don't know about Bennington, Pownell,
Oh,
Shasberry,
no, they're
Woodford.
clearly not.
I don't think Woodford would do it.
Well, I do know,
Pownell might.
I don't wanna speak for Pownell, but I know that Pownell's Section 9 report was different than Woodford,
Yes.
Bennington, and Shasberry. That's why they're in a different
Right.
time. They're basically asking to form their own school district and not have to join, but that if they have to, well, they want the board alignment that they all.
That we
There's
all
already
agreed to
a
on
second,
the
okay,
Act
yeah.
46
Right.
study committee.
Now, I have a question for you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because I just read the Section 10 proposal again and or skimmed it. And when they talk about a mud,
You were 105 to 125, I'm sorry.
Can I,
105 to
can I even
125.
change that? Because according to on the state board, the agenda is North Bennington at 12:50.
Wow. So I have, what
And-
we have is 12:45 to 105 is Bennington, Shasberry, Woodford, 105 to 125 North Bennington, 125 to 145 Pownell, so they may
I
have
guess, well,
changed it since they sent us.
who knows which
Yeah.
one, which one's more accurate, but
We'll double check that tomorrow. But in Chester, Green Mountain High School, still saying that?
better check, yes.
Yeah. All right.
are people going together or, I mean, you wanted to go, right?
Right, so,
I did.
so
Yeah.
no one from,
So I
Bennington,
think we
I-
can
yeah.
figure out a ride, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully not in my vehicle.
no one from Shasberry is attending. They're just sending their position.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown if anyone from Bennington is going. Now, that doesn't mean community members can't go, and they will be
Yeah,
granted
sure.
2 minutes if they wish to speak either
At
for
the
or against the.
beginning, yes, right,
So,
right.
2 minutes.
and Cindy Burnell, the chair of the panel, has indicated that she is going. So.
Okay. Yeah, so they have a, wait a second, where is it? I have it.
What are you looking for? Is it what you may have sent?
No, I have the Section 10 report
Oh.
on here
Oh.
somewhere. I did. I don't at the moment. Oh, Secretary's proposal, yes. Okay, here we go. All right, so here is the statement. A merger merger. A merger of the Bennington, Pownell, Shaftesbury, and Woodford districts is both possible and practicable. To simplify existing structures, replace 4 boards with 1, facilitate, etc., etc. A union elementary school district of these 4 towns would be large enough to take advantage of scale, provide relief from tax fluctuations, reduce the SU's current 6 districts to 3. Now, this proposal, stated as it is, has 1 union high school district, MAU, 1 4-town, I guess it's a MUD actually, that operates multiple schools, and 1 pre-K 6 district, us, that pays tuition. So there's not in any shape or form any thought in this Section 10 proposal by the Secretary to consider reinstituting the MUD that failed by 3 votes.
They said that by law they can't merge a high school and a middle school, high school. You know, the grade alignment has to be the same. They cannot merge an elementary. So even if what they did say is that they formed this MUD for an elementary MUD. Then a year from now, the voters could decide to go ahead and merge into 1, but that they do not have the authority under statute to merge school districts with different grade alignments.
Yeah, but it seems to me that's exactly what they're doing in certain situations in the forced consolidations.
In areas other than here?
Yeah. The one for Brattleboro, you know, that's all built around the Union High School district. I really don't understand that I don't think they've been consistent or compelling in some of their reasoning. And neither do the people in the Connecticut Valley. They've been doing lots of work on it. And in fact, they've got a legal challenge to make sure that the state holds on to all the records that they need to, if they want to proceed with a legal proceeding.
It's kind of overwhelming to think of the timeline here.
Yeah.
So we're the last of the 3 regional meetings.
Yeah.
And the board hasn't really weighed in on any testimony
Yes.
that's been given.
And here's the thing. What they really need to do is do their own research. And they have no staff except AOE.
Right.
And this is one of the things, you know, in order to come up with a proposal that's different from the actual Section 10 proposal of the acting secretary, they have to have some independence from that thinking, which it would be generated by additional.
And I don't know what flexibility they have on timeline, but they're supposed to come
They're
up with
supposed
a
to have it
plan
by
November.
November
Right.
30th, yeah.
And I don't know if they have any flexibility on that, because you're right, they have staff assistants from AOE members who are those ones that also helped in
Yes.
drafting the default articles.
It's like dealing, you know, how do you develop independence?
But even some simple changes, like the board agrees with our proposals to let us alter the draft
Yes.
articles of agreement.
Right.
Just from the amount of lawyer time to change those and get them back out for another meeting for approval by November.
Oh, it starts becoming very complicated. Yes, I got you.
They're floundering.
And getting them to be independent
Big
requires
clown
them to have some position apart from the agency. And because of, they've never had staff really, except through the agency or before that, the department. So they have been set up by the legislature to be basically railroaded into agreeing with the secretary's proposal as much as possible. And I think that's going to produce a lot of lawsuits.
Been hearing that from a lot of people.
Let's hope.
And I think they well deserve it, not just the agency, but the legislature. Because they didn't think this through very well. You know, they've given power to the state board that the state board doesn't really have, because they haven't dealt with the constitutional issues of these people voted against these proposals, some of them multiple times. You want to
They're
say
turning
their
over local
vote
votes.
counts for nothing, it's just community sentiment? Well, I call that kind of an odd thing, given voting is a constitutional right. Secondly, property is a constitutional right. You want to take their property for nothing and put it into the whole, the community whole, without compensation. Whoa. Third, they want to saddle certain districts with debt that they didn't vote for.
I have heard that one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it here
Yeah.
before. I think they are in for a heck of a lot of trouble.
And that's why the timeline has me concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
I
operational
mean,
timeline.
this SU actually is going to be relatively simple, because if those 4 districts want to go ahead and do this, it'll be done.
The
You'll
unfortunate
be
part is-
ready for operation at the July.
Unfortunate part is it's going to happen and be done to us anyways, but the incentives are gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So it's,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I never believe that anything is over till it's over.
Right.
You know, I might be paraphrasing some baseball catcher somewhere, but
Yeah.
but we'll.
The great Yogi.
Yeah, next Wednesday, because then they're done, and now it's all public testimony's done after next Wednesday. So,
Yes.
and you know, their November deadline is 2 months away.
Yes. And
So I'll see you there then.
they're going to have
Buffoonery.
to have some workshop sessions if they're going to craft something that differs, and they're going to have to decide. They're going to have to triage what they deal with. And if I were them, I'd triage dealing with these districts that are being forcibly consolidated, because that's where the lawsuits are going to come from, big time. And they're going to tie it up for a long time after that.
So I got my answer. I will respond that
Thank
a
you.
representative from North Bennington will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And you said you're going to go too. Okay.
Plan.
Thank you. I'm sorry it went on.
No,
But
You know,
I've
it's-
been involved with this, and I've listened to these folks because I've joined their group, and I've seen what they have to say, what they have to offer, and they are working with their representatives where they can to get them to support them, and it's going to be a big fight. It already is. They've already gotten the ear of the board by the second meeting. You know, they got the board to start discussing it as a realistic approach to think about something other than what was handed to them.
Jim, you were going to say something?
I lost my.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but it just. I was going to talk just a minute about Pownell, because it's not, even though Pownell is in agreement with the board makeup, they're still, you know, at least their board is adamant that they want to remain independent.
Well, then they should. Are they going to make that?
Oh, I believe they are. I mean, that was
Pitch.
their Section 10 report was. They used the isolation argument. You know, that they have nowhere else. They can't go to Massachusetts. They got a mountain to one side, Massachusetts, New York.
Yes.
So they're isolated. But you know, when I have conversation with the Agency of Education, they say, well, that's really for Northeast Kingdom, Vermont, the isolation argument. They're not. They may feel that they're isolated, and it's a long travel time
It's close.
for students, but you're already doing it for your middle school and high schools.
Yep.
And I mean,
Well, it's
the other-
different for elementary.
Sure. Do you want a kindergarten student on the bus that long? But
No.
you know,
And that, the thing is that the state has been, a lot of districts are showing up with these suburban proposals where they split up elementary school into various groupings, and kids are going.
right. It's like Shaftesbury is only 1, 2, 3, and all 4 and 5s go
Yeah,
to.
it doesn't make a lot of
That's
sense.
not what we're proposing.
No, I know
But,
that,
yeah.
but some districts have
They are,
done that.
yeah, and it's, consolidation in theory makes sense, except for the bus distances involved.
Yes.
Yeah, especially, at younger age. And, our articles of agreement had a lot of protections in it for not closing schools and not changing school lines for 5 years, and then it would take
Two votes.
2 consecutive votes a year apart, which means, we're 7 years away from it. Default articles is 2 years, and
Because that's what they're really looking for. It's, remember that they never wanted to close schools. It's the only thing they ever wanted, and they're getting it. Communities are being destroyed all over this
Well,
state.
Well,
it's
look.
really the only way that I see how there's going to be the savings.
Of course.
That,
But they lied. They're
Hol-
disingenuous.
Holland,
We knew
up
that.
on the Canadian border, voted to close their school yesterday. On Tuesday, I guess it was.
The day before that, the state board came out and said, that's not legal, you can't
You're
do
not
it.
allowed to do it,
Of
yeah.
Of course they can.
Of,
Yeah.
of course,
It's just
we
a
know.
legal vote.
It's just another,
And they're tuitioning their children to their neighbor that they were supposed to
I think there's going to be a
consolidate.
lot of lawyers who make a lot of money out of all this. I mean, I know
It
we're
ought to
going to
be-
spend. We're going to spend
Oh, of
more
course
on.
we already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if there was an agreement, we would still spend money. We've lost the incentive monies to use for all of that.
and there were a lot of consultants, like our new Secretary of Education made a lot of bank on it
There's a
too.
consultant somewhere near here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Right.
But, and that's, we don't know how that changes things. I mean, he's not the secretary that wrote this report. He did not
Well,
write
he,
Section 9.
No.
I mean, Section 10, he did not write the
No,
state section.
that's, he's taking the acting secretaries.
Yeah.
And then the reorganization has started, so he fired Amy Fowler and kept Heather Boucher,
Yes.
Bucci or whatever her name is. And
That was this.
so why was that? Well, one reason is that Heather Bucci was playing ball with Scott, Governor Scott. That's pretty clear, because the Section 10 proposal reflects it. I
I
don't
am
know
not
about
going
it.
to publicly speculate on politics.
I get to do that. Whatever. At any rate, it's going to be interesting and probably very frustrating.
And kind of an intense time period, where
Yes.
if you're not paying attention.
Well, and it's going to focus some attention of ordinary people who have not been paying attention, and all this has been going down. Especially in
ways
those
it-
communities that get, some leadership around fighting.
In some ways, I feel we've been talking about this going into 3 years now. But
Yeah.
we've been talking
Yeah.
about it around
Yeah.
here for about 7 or 8,
Yeah.
and we're where we are because of it,
Yeah.
which is in a better position than the rest of those districts, frankly.
All right.
Woodford's in there, but I mean, Woodford, when I reflecting on what they discussed at their meeting, I mean, they're the one with the real fear that how long are they going to
Yes.
survive?
Yeah.
They think they're numbering their days and counting them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dick Francis was just here. He's
Yep.
been very vocal about it, but I don't know. I would hope that that's not the case. And in fact, that maybe in 2 years and boundary lines go down, and we could send some students up there for a school of choice for parents who want a smaller environment. I don't know.
Yep.
Because I asked what their capacity, they feel they could put 35 students in. Can we make those numbers work? Because it is
classroom.
the soul of the community.
Yeah.
Repeated
the
again
oldest-
and again and again around the state.
Yeah, it's the oldest
continuously operating school on the same
Yep.
site
Right.
in the United States.
Right.
'Cause
Really?
because they once said to me, yeah,
You
Jim,
have
we
to
know
have
you're from
enough
Boston.
qualifications.
Boston Latin doesn't count because they built a new school on a different site. So it may be older, but it was on a different site. I said,
Right.
Okay. So I will never question that. It is the
No.
oldest continuously operating school on the same
Well,
site.
certainly
in the
true
United
in
States.
Vermont, so.
Wow.
So if we move on, I guess, I had an article about the SVSU website is our public information site. And I brought that up because of a residency issue. The residency issue was that a child who was too young to be in kindergarten. And I had to
Familiar with that.
send a letter, and I just realized, our residency policy and our tuition policy are not on the SU website, and they should be. There are policies, they're not the SU policies, but we don't have our own site, and we use this as our site, so I would like to work with the tech department to
I'm sure we could
accomplish
accommodate that, and then, look at options on where it goes, because, things can get lost on it. Labeling is
Absolutely, yeah.
tough, and people say,
Yeah.
I can't find it. I go, well, you
Right.
click here, click there,
Right.
and there it is.
Yeah.
And we use it all the time, so maybe it's not as intuitive
Intuitive,
as you would like to
Yes.
think.
And the next item is enrollment numbers, and I sent everybody on the board my listing for the schools outside of the village school.
Mhm.
And the total comes out to 18, I believe that's
Yeah,
correct.
okay.
7 at Highland Hall. What? I can't remember this without looking it up. Yes. Sorry.
Don't know where it is.
There's nobody at Pine Cobble. There's
Do you have it right?
six.
I got it.
Six at Shaftesbury. There are
7 at Highland Hall. Did you say that?
5 at South Shore and 7 at Highland Hall. And that's 18, right? So we budgeted for 19, and there's a little shift in there toward Highland Hall, which has a lower tuition than the lowest tuition of that group. I checked the Shaftesbury announced tuition, and I got the calculation, which works out according to the rules. So I will be signing tuition agreements for all the students that in that group. Perhaps we ought to. Well, I have authority basically from the board to do that anyway,
Mm-hmm.
based on residency, which is approved. So, and so the next number is the number from the SNB, and we have been working cooperatively on getting this into a computerized system. The two women who run the front office now have worked with Amanda Amanda's setting up a tech program, so there's a ability for parents to respond to the residency request and the other information requests of the school on the website.
Yep.
And they will compile, hallelujah, they will compile the if everything works out, the information that we need to provide to the SU for the census. And we'll know that number, by the end of the month.
What's it looking like it's gonna be? I think
district, it's gonna be much lower than we thought.
Oh.
We lost, in probably the last month, we've lost a lot of families.
Uh-huh.
I think it's right now at 114. It's gonna be
Whoa.
112 before the count.
Wow. Hmm. People moving out?
Yep.
Wow.
Only one of those was even on our radar.
Yeah, there's some shifts in there of certain parties that were expected though. Yeah, losses due to housing conditions. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wait to see what happens. Boys' third floor bathroom status. The only report there is that I think we've paid almost all the bills. The labor and industry fire safety inspector came this past week on Tuesday and approved it, gave us our certificate of occupancy, had given us a temporary certificate over the phone previously so that we could be legal in starting school. And the only request was that there be signage for that it's ADA compliant, and one of those signs, two signs, one of them is in Braille. And Jimmy's ordering that stuff. He's ordering
It's already ordered.
the stuff for the second bathroom when we do that. The other thing is we probably ought to get signage for the single unit bathrooms to say that they're unisex,
The ones
gender
on the first,
neutral.
you're talking about the ones on the first
Well,
floor? These already
each-
these already have male female on both this floor and the floor
Okay.
below.
Yeah.
The ones on the lower floor, we'll figure out if we need to do that or if we
Right. You could
Do
do
you
it
know
on
that?
those too. Yeah.
Do you know about the gender neutral bathrooms and the regs for the school?
We did get a notification on that, and, I could ask Paul Dansrow, the MAU facility.
Because we have
We'd
one on
really
this
appreciate
floor and
that.
one on the
Yeah.
floor
Yeah.
below,
Yeah.
but we're not
Yeah.
sure if we need one on the floor below.
I'm sure he'd be glad to come over and talk to what we had to do at the high school, and that
Okay.
way.
Great, thank you.
I thought all the single-use bathrooms had to be
I
converted.
believe you're right.
Yeah, that would be easy.
From
for
what
us.
I saw in
Yeah,
the-
so that's easy.
I'm
for
sure
us.
he'd be glad to.
Thanks.
in the review of legislation
Should I take
that
that name
passed.
down or?
No, I'm
Okay.
gonna,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, thanks.
I'm actually gonna send him a message right from
Okay,
here,
thank
so.
you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
Well, let's skip to the last item, which is facility.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, I appreciate it.
Facility costs for
Should be
FY
fine.
18.
Yeah.
These are costs that we sat down with Tim and we determined what we owed in terms of outstanding bills that occurred during the year that seemed that from our perspective were bills that as the landlord we had they were our expense. So they include a rather minor one that involves cleaning out some roof drains and screwing a drain back together because we had last summer we had an intrusion of water into the music room downstairs, which caused us to take up the carpet and replace it with carpet squares. Matt and I went out there and put grout down it to stop the flow, but the drains were also part of the problem because they were causing water to back up in that area. So that's why we're paying that one. The elevator, there was a long-term problem with the elevator because it had an automatic door closure system that involved some motherboard circuitry that would burn out readily if the door jammed. The jams occurred because people got things in the way, or they boogered up the track, or banged on the door. Very simple things that you would hope wouldn't happen with an elevator because they were extremely expensive. But this past, when is that dated?
I just wanted to booger up the track is an official technical
It
term.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have no issues since.
We last September
12/7. 12/7/17.
We don't have issues.
Oh, okay, good.
Since
No, this one.
9/15/17.
Yeah.
Before that, we had that
They
amount.
came and this had been a suggestion, I think I made it as well as some other folks, that we just get rid of the automatic feature. Why can't we just close it? And they did that, and so far it's been very successful.
Why not done
No, I
more?
thought you were saying the opposite. I thought you were saying we've had for.
No.
Oh, no,
Okay.
no, it's not, nothing has
Okay.
happened, not,
Right.
again,
Okay,
nothing.
okay.
So we're
negative.
paying for that
So what
retrofit.
what line item will these be coming from?
In our building.
From last year's? So we're gonna take it from that building reserve?
We'll take it this year.
We can
We're
take
not
it. We're
back.
cutting the
post-
check this year.
pre-
I know,
Yeah.
but since this was a last year's matter, I'm wondering accounting-wise whether it needs to be accounted for last year. Will let the
No.
auditors.
I don't
will
think
let
so,
you know?
because they accounted for it last
Yeah,
year,
they
and then we're now
they
deciding.
paid it. We're paying them back.
Okay. Okay, so that'll be, okay. You
It
said
doesn't
there were
have to
3
be-
of them though?
Yeah, so there's
And
the
the
roof, the elevator,
And the last one
was
is
the furnace condensate lines,
Yeah.
repiped, some steam trap, check valve, ball valves, pipe fittings.
Yep.
So
That was to improve there was some problem with that line. It wasn't allowing the water to come back. It would build up, and it would build up in the radiators. So this was done to see if we could get better.
It's roughly about
flow through.
$4,500 total that we'll be reimbursing the village school for.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be, are you gonna amend and do a warrant on that in September?
No, we're going to get a bill from VSNB.
Right, but I'm just wondering, is that
No.
going to still, that will not occur in September?
No.
Okay.
Be next one.
Okay.
It probably will be along with all the other accounting that we're doing
Okay.
with the student counts and
Yep.
everything else.
No, it's fine.
Okay. The school security issues, which were basically that's the grant money that we applied for. I forwarded to you the legal counsel response from AOE. I don't know why it's from AOE instead of DPS, but it is. AOE told them what to do, that's why. I've written a draft of a response to that because basically I think it's kind of pulled out of the top of their heads to some extent. I won't bother to read it now because you'll have access to it. And I'd appreciate someone giving me some free editing. Tim could do that, I think, pretty well.
He just sent this today.
Yeah,
At 3
I saw
o'clock.
saw the thing you sent today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I was having trouble because I was dealing with the text below.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And
And
emotions.
Well, that was my first response was I was so hopping mad I could barely type. But
Yeah, I'll edit.
thank you.
Our students who reside in our district-owned building aren't allowed the protections that other students have in the state, apparently.
I tried to make that point subtly that
Not
this
that
was an equity issue.
Not that
too.
they will not be getting that same protection. It's
Mm.
just that no money will become forthcoming.
Yeah, I'm not
Sure.
expecting them to give us money. I just would like them to acknowledge that their legal reasoning is pretty suspect as an opinion.
This is just another, yet again, example of them trying to ding
I
us
think so.
because they're annoyed that we
Well,
forwarded
you know,
their
we
consolidation
occupy,
fund for
it's that, but it's also, we occupy a peculiar position which they seem to readily forget, because we are the only district like this in the whole state. That is a K-6 choice district with obligations to a union high school, and that we own a building that we lease to a independent that provides services to our kids. And they somehow can't keep that straight. So and
Makes for an easy target.
I'm sure they could if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
well, maybe if they wanted to, yes. And basically, my argument is that the words of the statute that defines what entities are possible entities to give the grants to, and the words of the statute that was passed by the legislature to create the money, do not say that we have to be the way they want to describe us. They want things to be according to their letter of the law. And I don't see that they can get from point A to point B. They'll disagree.
When
and
was
I'm
the last
sure of
time you
that.
saw them manage to do that in any of the issues?
Well,
They're perfectly good at interpreting the law however they want.
Pretty much.
pretty much. And it really comes down to who challenges them in the end. That's why it's important for people to pay attention. Not just let it go on.
Paul Dansworth will stop by tomorrow and put your signage. I gave him your name
Okay, that's easy.
to ask
All
for
right.
you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the last thing was the Section 10 meeting. We've really already discussed it, except I need some help figuring out what I'm going to say. I still haven't done that. I guess it's up to me.
I
'cause
think
I'm
you
the one
might
going.
take the opportunity to 20 minutes to speak your mind and your well-crafted understanding of what's going on with those other districts.
Mm.
We managed to thwart,
Well, Krista Healing may cut me off if I
Probably.
deviate. Yes.
Well, you can read from your Section 9 report,
Yeah.
because, you shouldn't probably assume that the state board has read it all.
Right.
No.
Read the
They
recommendation.
say specifically, their direction is that do not
Maybe that
read.
would be the guy to
Do
do
not
it.
to read it,
Yeah.
but you
But you can
certainly
say
could.
it.
But you
grab
can
some-
you
some
can
s-
iterate.
points that you want to make.
Yes.
That's where I go now. A Ray filibuster.
That's what we're
I'm
saying. If anyone
looking
could do a
forward.
filibuster, it would be you, right?
If he does, I'll break out the camera and record it. So you can all
I'll
see
be there.
it.
Oh,
Right
you
next
won't
to
have
it.
to. It's gonna be on YouTube.
That would be great.
So is that it on the agenda?
Yes.
That's really it.
If you
Thank
don't relinquish the floor, can they pull you off?
I think it'd be worth doing.
Security.
I'll back you up. It'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Other,
that's
do
fine.
we
Why
don't have,
not?
we don't have no one wants to say anything else? Okay. And we don't have enrollment, because no one's fixed on that, so.
Yeah, it's a little, we got the numbers. Well, we wouldn't have your numbers, I don't have the SU numbers, so.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.